Well, we're here in the STOL CH 750 Super Duty, and in the Super Duty, one of the first things you notice when you're sitting inside, there's no traditional instrument panel. And in this prototype airplane that we've introduced this past year at Oshkosh, we have this UnPanel display system, which is a large 17-inch unit located on an articulating arm, so we can really move this around and locate different setups like that. Now, you've been flying this airplane quite a bit. What do you think about this UnPanel display?
Oh, it's nice. You have so much more room, visibility. You know, when you're wanting to look out, or if your passenger doesn't want to have the instrument panel in front of them, you can take it out of their way. Or if you're doing a, you know, let's say a approach or something, you want it right in front of you, or your GPS. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's certainly a unique, innovative way of displaying, you know, of doing the traditional, doing away with the traditional panel. You know, and in many ways, I do think it really makes sense because we can actually display everything on one display unit. In the past, you know, with the old steam gauges and so forth, we used to have, you know, an instrument panel to hold all these different steam gauges. Now we really don't need that anymore. So pretty much everything is on the one glass display unit, and then here we've got switches on the sides, and that's, I guess, to configure everything for the comm radio and so forth. Is that correct?
That is correct. You know, changing the barometric pressure or your altimeter or your transponder code. Yes, that's what those switches are for.
Right, and then ultimately, you know, it is a touch screen display. Now, it's not enabled on this setup. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But that would be, I guess, the next generation would be with doing away completely with the switches, I assume, for that. And of course, you know, one of the big advantages sitting in here is the space. You know, there's like nothing here in front of me. Like, I mean, it's quite wonderful. Visibility-wise, outside the cabin is really quite incredible because, again, here I can see completely, you know, that whole new area that I wouldn't be able to see normally. I can see now, and so the space, the visibility. And then in some ways, you see the panel quite a bit better because I see, you know, our airspeed and altimeter. Our airspeed and altimeter, altitude, right in front of us.
Well, you can move it forward too. If your eyes, you know, changing, you can.
Right. So, you know, it's nearly like a HUD display in the sense that, like, I mean, I've got the information right here, right in front of me. So it's really very intuitive that way. And then, like most of these glass panel displays, a lot of it becomes software driven in terms of what information gets sent here. I see the GPS data left us because we're inside a sheet metal building here. So
exactly,
we don't see that now. Again, since introducing it, again, this past year at Oshkosh, again, we've partnered with Ablution, which is a company behind the actual panel, and more importantly, the software behind the panel that runs it. That said, you know, the standard configuration for this airplane is really not with this panel, is it?
No. I get that question all the time from existing customers or new potential customers. They say, "Man, I'd rather have I'm old-fashioned. I like to have the regular conventional panel. Can I do that?" And the answer is yes. The standard panel is the old conventional panel.
Right. You know, we took advantage of introducing a new design and introducing a new panel concept together at the same time, but that they certainly don't have to be together that way at all. And that said, also this exact panel display, we can put it in our earlier models like the STOL CH 750, the Cruzer, and so forth. And we already have quite a few customers planning to do that. Isn't that the case?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really is a separate item. And the articulating arm itself, too, the mechanics behind it, we're still experimenting with that. This system works out really well, even though it's a prototype. It's worked out really well for us. I was expecting at the beginning to, especially when I'm doing a flight test, that this would actually move around in flight, but we've had really good success with that. And so we look at expanding that a little bit more as well. And then also at one point the ability to turn this into a landscape format, from the portrait into a landscape format, will definitely be a fun thing to do. And then, like you were saying, you know, a lot of customers prefer the old style, you know, the fixed instrument panel, as well as being able to put old steam gauges or additional glass panel displays. And here we see this huge 17-inch display unit. Now, what's an alternative? We could be doing that in the UnPanel. Couldn't we be putting some of the Garmin or Dynon?
Oh, definitely. I mean, all it is a mount holding the screen.
Right.
So you could do a Garmin, a MGL, a Dynon, yes, any of those systems.
So pretty much any of those systems, and this is what 17-inch, so that's 17 by 10, or I can't remember, it's 10 inches wide here, is that correct? So
That
that's
is correct.
basically just the same size as the 10-inch Dynon or Garmin units, isn't it? So
Yes.
that would work well. I could also see where we put a Garmin or Dynon display on top, and then maybe an iPad for the bottom for navigation. You know, the ForeFlight on an iPad works really well. So a lot of different configurations. We're kind of excited about introducing this UnPanel concept, and since introducing it, we've had a lot of good interest. A lot of aviation media folks and so forth have been excited by it, saying that it's truly taking taking avionics to the next level in the cockpit. Because again, the traditional panel, there's a time and place for it, but maybe that time and place is done with now that we have these wonderful new glass panel displays.